Many of us are used to making broad selections by using the Magic Wand tool, which lives under the new tool called Quick Selection tool. I'm going to show you how the Magic Wand tool used to do things, and as you see here I have this pretty blue sky, but there are some gradations in here. And if I click with the Magic Wand tool, you see that it does its best to grab the pixels that I want, but we have some stragglers here. And I have to hold down the Shift key and click again to try to clean this up manually. Well, the Quick Selection tool, unlike the Magic Wand tool, doesn't really rely on a tolerance setting, but it does rely on how fast you use the tool as well as how big the brush is. So I'm going to try the same thing here with the Quick Selection tool. So I'm going to have a 70 pixel brush, and I'm going to go to this default mode right here. This is the mode is usually on to create a brand new selection. Now, as soon as I let go of the mouse, this mode is automatically going to enable itself, because it's going to figure out that I want to add to the selection, so I might want to get some other parts. I can also subtract from a selection by using this guy here. And if I want the edges to be enhanced and really head towards the edges more clearly, I can use the Auto Enhance feature. I'm going to turn that off for now because it slows me down a little tiny bit. So I'm going to click, and I'm going to start moving my mouse in the blue parts of the sky, and the tool is going to analyze the difference between the area that I'm clicking in and dragging in and the areas that are of a much significant difference in color. So I'm going to let go of the mouse and let it catch up, and then you'll notice that in a moment the tool, once again, as I mentioned earlier, will switch automatically to the add mode. So I can click and drag, and it will continue to add to the selection I already have. So I don't have to hold down the Shift key like I would have to with the Magic Wand tool. As you see here, the selection is nice and clean. Now, as I said before, if I wanted the edges to be a little bit less blocky, a little cleaner, I can enable Auto Enhance. I can also continue to work and drag in here, let go of the mouse and see what it does, and grab in this antenna a little bit by just dropping down the size of the brush. I'll hold the left bracket key a couple times, and I'll click and I'll drag my mouse down this antenna. And as you see here, it doesn't work too well because my brush was a little too large there, so I'm going to undo that and try again by reducing the size of the brush. I'm also going to zoom in a little bit as well. Let's get that tool, drop the brush down, and that's much better. If you have a problem with the tool going into regions that you don't want, don't forget, just reduce the size of the brush. The size of the brush is in essence the tolerance for this tool. Now sometimes it's a little sluggish because it's constantly evaluating, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to deselect this now, and I'm going to turn on Auto Enhance, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush so we can see what it looks like when we get into this region here. So I'm going to click and drag my mouse just to grab this area. And you see we have a nice line here, although it did go into this region a little bit too much. So once again, it's a little bit of an experimentation, and you really just have to get used to using the correct size of the brush and also not moving your mouse a little too fast, as I'm doing here to demonstrate how this tool works for you. So Photoshop has this new tool, once again, it's called the Quick Selection tool, and it can help you to more easily grab a large portions of your image. Like most of the tools though, it's only a start, and you're still going to have to put a little elbow grease in there to clean up the rest of the stuff on your own. So in effect, it's really what we really want, because we don't want this to be too easy, or then everybody would be able to do it and most of us would be out of a job.